Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. If Joe Biden was Pinocchio, his nose would be so long that it would wrap around the earth at least 3 times. The way I've described Joe Biden throughout his career is one of the most repeated, chronic, habitual political liars ever. There's a lot of politicians who try to be slick about the mistruths that they peddle. Joe Biden is the exact opposite. I mean, literally everything that seems to come out of his mouth is just total BS. We've covered all the ridiculous life stories, none of them happened. Like I stated in a previous Joe Biden video, if all of his stories were true, then he'd be one of the most interesting, legendary historical characters of all time. But of course, he's just plain old, boring Uncle Joe, lying to the public and lying to his grandkids about his great escapades. But really, those aren't the lies that bother me. They make him look bad, sure, but for the most part, they're harmless. It's kooky Uncle Joe at it once again with his kooky stories that nobody believes. The lies that are frustrating, the lies that frankly really piss me off, are the ones that really matter. When there's an ongoing crisis, and Joe Biden pulls some random BS out of his behind and presents it to the public as an irrefutable fact. And here we go again. Joe Biden saying some ridiculous stuff trying to rewrite history that really only makes you ask yourself one question. What is this guy smoking? It seems as if it might not just be Hunter Biden with the crack problem. Joe Biden also seems to be on another planet. Let me show you guys his ridiculous statements and then let's contrast it with, well, reality, truth, facts. Let me show you guys his most recent ridiculous statements. And then of course, let's contrast that with, well, reality and facts. But of course, before we get into any of it, make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible, and with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright friends, so we'll remember a couple months ago when Joe Biden falsely claimed that wages are up. Everyone's making so much more money in Joe Biden's economy.
Wages are actually up, not down.
This was during some heavy months of the inflation crisis spiraling out of control. And of course, we know that real wages were down significantly as people are getting poorer, as everything gets more expensive. Well, the question is, has Joe Biden learned anything? Obviously not. Take a look at what he just said recently during a press conference.
Since I took office, families are carrying less debt. Their average savings are up. A recent survey from the Federal Reserve found that more Americans feel financially comfortable than any time since the survey began in 2013.
Since I took office, families are carrying less debt and more Americans feel financially comfortable. On what universe? Like I told you, the question you're asking yourself right now is, what is this guy smoking? He must be getting the good stuff, the good Parmesan, off his son Hunter Biden's Connect. This guy is a complete lunatic. He has no shame whatsoever, stands up at that podium in front of all of the cameras, looks the American people in the eyes and says this. Families are carrying less debt? What are you talking about? The US savings rate hits the lowest level since 2008. I mean, I don't know where this guy gets his facts, or honestly, where he gets off saying something like this during probably some of the worst economic conditions we've seen in over a decade. I mean, let's just use basic deductive logic and analysis. Pre-pandemic, we've seen countless studies across Western countries which depict a struggling lower and middle class. Numbers coming out of the United States, Canada, and Europe showing anywhere from 40 to 60% of residents, depending on the country, living paycheck to paycheck, and in many cases, we've seen studies showing that close to a majority, if not more than a majority, of citizens in these countries are like $200 away from bankruptcy or spiraling further and further into debt. Well, what happens when gas prices literally double under Joe Biden's watch? They've actually more than doubled since he's taken over as president. Inflation is completely out of control. The cost of everything is going up and people's savings are taking a hit as markets have been in a free fall over the last 6 months. Well, if a significant portion of the population is close to bankruptcy and living paycheck to paycheck, and everything just got 20% more expensive and their savings are taking a hit, who the hell do you think you are as president to say, since I took office, families are carrying less debt, more Americans feel financially comfortable? And I mean, it's just dumb. Who is feeding this guy his talking points? More Americans feel financially comfortable. How could you say that when even CNN is reporting stuff like this?
Just take a look at the overall economy. How are economic conditions doing? The current economy, only fair or poor. 85% of Americans say the current economy, they view it as only fair or poor. That is the worst since 2011. The economic outlook getting worse. 77% That's the worst since 2009. These are historic numbers.
Friends, 85% of the American populace have a negative outlook on the economy, and 77% expect economic conditions to worsen. And Joe Biden is operating on a completely different planet, completely out of touch. I mean, he's the president of the United States. He has the most important and the most highly scrutinized role on the planet. There's people who run Fortune 500 companies and massive hedge funds, people who run other governments who have important government positions. None of it comes close to being president of the United States. And he just isn't taking his job seriously. As the JP Morgan CEO joins Glenn Beck in sounding the economic alarm, a financial hurricane is coming. Brace yourself. As we're seeing headlines like this, Joe Biden is totally delusional and coping with his failing presidency, telling American families that they feel more financially comfortable. I don't know who he's telling that to. Is he telling that to you, or is he trying to convince himself? And just to show you how fundamentally unserious this president is, Elon Musk announces super bad feelings surrounding the economy, plans a 10% staff layoff report. Elon Musk having a super bad feeling around the economy is pretty much how everyone's feeling. And when Joe Biden was confronted with this quote, take a look at what he had to say.
Are you going to Saudi Arabia, Mr. President? Are you going to Saudi Arabia? Elon Musk has said that he has a super bad feeling about the U.S. economy. He's laying off 10% of his workforce. What do you say to Elon Musk about his feeling about the economy? Jamie Dimon has said similar things.
Well, let me tell you, while Elon Musk is talking about that, Ford is increasing their investment overwhelmingly. I think Ford is increasing the investment in building new electric vehicles, 6,000 new employees, union employees, I might add, in the Midwest. The former Chrysler Corporation, Stellantis, they are also making similar investments in electric vehicles. Intel is adding 20,000 new jobs for making computer chips. You know, lots of luck on his trip to the moon. I mean,
Oh, lots of luck on his trip to the moon. Ha 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 ha. So funny. As the economy is on the brink of catastrophic recession. As not only JP Morgan is bracing itself, but now even Chase Bank's Jamie Dimon says the mega bank is bracing itself for an economic hurricane. I mean, just like the video I released a couple days ago, which was centered around the idea that random people posting dumbass memes on Twitter are more serious economists and more credible than Janet Yellen and Joe Biden's economic team. Well, here's another example. Even Cardi B misses Trumponomics. Cardi B wants to know when they will announce the recession. Here's the tweet. When y'all think they going to announce that we going into a recession? Even Democrat Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden's shill, Cardi B, can see the writing on the wall. And probably even Democrats, at least the very few honest ones, are seeing some of the rhetoric coming out of this president and probably scratching their head thinking, what the hell did I do? What was I thinking voting for this man? And I know that that's the case because the Washington Examiner just released a piece. President at Joe Biden finally did it. The lackluster leader's approval rating has fallen below every president of the modern era at this stage of their term. He is actually the worst president in modern American history. Not because I said it, but everyone is saying it. It's an unavoidable fact. And things continue to get worse for Sleepy Joe. And of course, the Democrat hopes, as, get this, the People's Pundit, a historically very accurate polling firm, just released their hypothetical 2024 general election numbers. Joe Biden is trailing Donald Trump by 6.5 points, 39.5% to 46. And it gets even worse when you go to the most important voting blocks. Donald Trump has a lead over Joe Biden with independents of 20.6%. And with suburban voters, Donald Trump has a lead of 13.3%. Joe Biden is cooked. Game over, folks. He's just an objectively terrible leader. Terrible policies to out-of-touch takes. Totally delusional, a chronic liar. And Democrat voters are getting exactly what they voted for. It just sucks that they had to take everyone else for that ride for 4 years because of their poor decision-making skills. But I guess that's just life sometimes. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share it as much as possible. I'm going to get back to work. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.